Welcome back to the channel where we uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Rarest coins. Today's episode might just change how you look at your spare coins forever. Because we're talking about the 1966 Washington quarter dollar. To most people it's just another quarter, but to collectors and experts it can be a golden ticket. Believe it or not, one particular 1966 quarter is reported to have sold for an unbelievable $1.8 million. That's right, $1.8 million for a coin that was worth 25 cents. So what makes this coin so special? Why is it worth more than a luxury car or even some homes? Let's find out. Let's begin with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin features the left-facing portrait of Washington on the front with the word Liberty above his head and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the left. On the reverse was a majestic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. Now fast forward to 1966. At this point the United States Mint was undergoing some major changes. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the Mint stopped producing quarters with silver due to rising silver prices and increasing demand. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver. But from 1965 onward, including the 1966 quarter, the coins were minted using a clad composition, which is a sandwich of copper and nickel layers. Because of this change, the 1966 quarter is part of the early clad era. It weighs about 5.67 grams and has a core of pure copper with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It also does not have a mint mark because from 1965 to 1967 the United States Mint temporarily removed mint marks from coins to discourage collectors from hoarding newly issued pieces during the coin shortage of the mid-1960s. In total, the Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1966. So in general, these coins are extremely common. In circulated condition, they are worth face value. Even in uncirculated condition, a typical 1966 quarter might be worth between $5 and $20 depending on its condition. But as with many things in the world of numismatics, the real value lies in the rarest errors and misprints. And this brings us to the story of the ultra-rare 1966 quarter that is believed to have sold for as much as $1.8 million. While many may think this is an urban legend, collectors and historians agree that extremely rare coins do sometimes fetch huge sums due to a unique combination of rarity, condition, and historical interest. So what exactly made this 1966 quarter worth so much? The most likely explanation is that this coin is a transitional error or was struck on a silver planchet meant for earlier coins. Imagine this: during the transition away from silver in the mid-1960s, the Mint was producing both silver and clad coinage. In that period, it's possible that a leftover 90% silver planchet from 1964 was mistakenly used in 1966. That kind of error would be incredibly rare. Combine that with a perfect strike, full original luster, and high mint state grade, and you have a coin that is truly one of a kind. Another possibility is that it was a proof coin struck in San Francisco with extreme care and accidentally released into circulation or sold privately. These kinds of situations are extraordinarily rare, and when discovered they become the crown jewels of private collections. So, how can you tell if your 1966 quarter is worth more than 25 cents? Here's what to look for. First, check the weight. A normal 1966 clad quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs closer to 6.25 grams, it might be a silver error. You will want to use a precise digital scale to be sure. Next, check the edge of the coin. A clad coin will have a visible copper core along the edge. A silver coin will have a solid white or grayish edge with no copper line. This is one of the easiest ways to do a quick check for silver content. Then look closely at the coin surfaces under magnification. Are there any doubling effects in the lettering or the date? This might indicate a double die error, which can also significantly increase a coin's value. Is the coin off center, or does it have a misaligned die strike? These types of errors are also valuable, especially when well preserved. Lastly, consider the coin's overall condition. Coins that are in mint state with no signs of wear and sharp details will always command higher prices. If you believe your 1966 quarter could be rare or valuable, you should have it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate the coin, give it an official grade, and help determine its market value. If your coin is one of the very few mint error types, or even a potential transitional silver piece, it could be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. And in that rarest case, perhaps you're holding a $1.8 million treasure. To recap, the 1966 Washington quarter is a coin with a fascinating place in history. Most are common and worth only face value, but a rare few contain errors so significant and so mysterious that they've shattered expectations and sold for life-changing sums of money. The next time you go through your coin collection or even get change at the store, take a moment to look at your quarters. That ordinary-looking coin might just be the next big discovery. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story about rare coins and hidden value, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with your fellow coin collectors. There's always more history to uncover and more treasures waiting to be found. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a version optimized for a specific time length or formatted for on-screen visuals and voiceover timing. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden value in everyday pocket change. If you've ever wondered whether the coin sitting in your drawer could be worth a fortune, you are in the right place. Rarest coins. Today we are diving deep into the story of the 1986 Washington quarter. A coin most people see as just 25 cents could actually be worth as much as $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million for a quarter that many of us have handled without a second thought. So how is that even possible? What makes this coin special? Let's get into the history, the minting details, and the incredible errors and rare conditions that can turn this common coin into a collector's dream. First, let's rewind the clock and look at some background on the Washington quarter. This coin was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. The design by John Flanagan features a left-facing bust of Washington on the front with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" along with the date. The reverse shows an eagle with its wings spread perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath. This classic design remained in place for decades, and by 1986 it was still the standard look for the quarter, but the materials had changed quite a bit. Since 1965, quarters were no longer made with any silver. Instead, they were composed of a copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel, also known as a clad composition. Now let's zoom in on the 1986 quarter. The P mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Over 500 million of these quarters were minted that year, making them very common in circulation. In most cases, if you have a 1986 quarter in your pocket or coin jar, it is worth exactly 25 cents. But as every serious collector knows, the real money is not in the average coin, it's in the rare ones, the ones with mistakes, unusual features, or mysterious origins. And that brings us to why this ordinary looking coin could be worth up to $1.3 million. So what kind of 1986 quarter could be worth that much? The answer lies in minting errors and extreme rarity. One of the most valuable types of coin errors is the transitional error. This is when a coin is struck on a planchet from a previous year or a different composition. For example, if a 1986 quarter was accidentally struck on a silver planchet left over from a 1964 batch, that would be a major error. Silver planchets were not supposed to be in use anymore, so a coin like that would be an incredible find. Another possibility is a double denomination error. This is when a coin is struck on a blank mint for another coin, like a dime or a foreign denomination. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickel or penny planchet, or a blank from a completely different country. These kinds of errors are extremely rare, and because of how unusual they are, they can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even into the $1 million range when combined with mint condition. There are also double die errors, which happen when the coin's design is imprinted more than once slightly offset. This can cause a shadow-like doubling on the date, the letters, or the mint mark. If you find a 1986 p quarter with clear doubling, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, and other die errors, where the design is noticeably misaligned or parts of the image are missing. These are often caused by mechanical mistakes during the minting process, and collectors go wild for well-defined examples in great condition. But to reach that $1.3 million value, the coin would need to be a one-of-a-kind piece, likely with a combination of major errors, perfect preservation, and an incredible story. Perhaps a unique silver strike, an experimental planchet, or a high-grade specimen from a forgotten test batch. Coins like this are usually discovered by chance and then authenticated and graded by professionals. So how do you know if your 1986 p quarter might be one of these rare $1 million finds? Here are a few simple steps. First, weigh the coin. A standard 1986 clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs noticeably more or less, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Next, check the edge of the coin. Clad quarters show a copper-colored stripe along the edge. Silver quarters or planchet errors may have a solid gray or silver edge without the copper stripe. Examine the coin closely using a magnifying glass or microscope. Look at the date, the mint mark, and the lettering. Is anything doubled or off-center? Does the design appear sharp, or is it misaligned? And of course, condition matters. If your coin looks brand new with no wear scratches or marks, it may be uncirculated, and potentially more valuable coins in mint state or graded MS-65 and higher are always in high demand. If you think you've found something special, the next step is to have your coin professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They will examine your coin, assign a grade, and verify if it's a known error or something truly one of a kind. With professional certification, your coin could sell at auction or be valued at prices far beyond what you ever imagined. To sum it all up, the 1986 p Washington quarter is usually just an everyday coin, but there are rare versions out there struck in error or preserved in perfect condition that have become the stuff of legend. One of those coins is believed to have sold for up to $1.3 million, a once ordinary coin turned into a life-changing discovery. So check your pockets, your drawers, your coin jars, and collections. You never know what hidden treasure might be waiting there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and the secret history of American money, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and share it with your fellow collectors and friends. Until next time, keep hunting, keep looking, and happy collecting. Would you like a shorter version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts? Or do you want help designing a thumbnail or title for this video? Let me know how else I can help your channel grow. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures in your pocket change, rarest coins. Today, we are looking at the 1979 D Washington $quarter coin that millions of people have used every day without ever realizing that one rare version of it may be worth up to $1.5 million. That is not a typo or an exaggeration. A coin worth just 25 cents could be hiding a life-changing secret. Now, before we talk about what makes the rare version so special, let's take a step back and understand the history behind the Washington quarter. This iconic coin was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. The original design, by sculptor John Flanagan, features a left-facing profile of Washington on the obverse with the word Liberty above and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the side. The reverse shows a bald eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath, symbolizing both war and peace. By 1979, the Washington quarter had become a fixture of American coinage, and the design remained largely unchanged. The major difference by then was the metal composition. Prior to 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to change the formula. Starting in 1965, all quarters were struck with a copper core and a copper nickel-clad outer layer. This is known as a clad coin, and it is the same basic formula still used. Today, the 1979 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint. You can identify this coin by the small d mint mark located on the obverse of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Hundreds of millions of these coins were produced, making most of them extremely common. In fact, if you have a circulated 1979 D quarter, it is most likely worth face value, but that does not mean they are all worthless. In fact, one version is believed to have sold for as much as $1.5 million. So what could possibly make this coin worth that kind of money? The answer lies in extremely rare minting errors and die varieties. A small handful of 1979 D quarters may have been struck under highly unusual circumstances that turn them into collector legends. One of the most valuable possibilities is what is called a transitional error. This is when a coin is accidentally struck using a planchet from a different year or composition. For example, a coin that should have been clad is instead struck on a silver planchet left over from an earlier year. If a 1979 D quarter was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet, it would be a 1 in a million mistake. This kind of error would create a coin that looks and feels slightly different. It would be heavier, with a different tone, and a brighter luster. And because silver planchets were not used for regular quarters in 1979, any such coin would be incredibly rare. Another possibility is a double denomination error. This happens when a coin is struck on a blank that already had a different denomination stamped onto it. Imagine a quarter struck on a penny blank or on a Susan B. Anthony dollar blank. Such errors are extremely rare and often fetch jaw-dropping prices at auction. A well-preserved example could easily be valued in the hundreds of thousands or even over $1 million if it is unique. There are also known double die varieties, where the design elements on the coin appear to be slightly duplicated due to a mistake in the die creation process. If you look closely at the lettering or the numbers and see a faint shadow or doubling effect, it could be a double die error. These are also highly collectible and can raise the value of a coin dramatically, especially in uncirculated condition. Now let's talk about how to spot a rare 1979 D quarter. The first thing to do is check the coin's weight. A standard clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more, it may have been struck on a silver planchet or even a planchet mint. For a different denomination, use a precision digital scale for the most accurate reading. Next, examine the edge of the coin. A standard clad quarter will show a visible copper-colored line along the edge. If you do not see that, and the edge looks solid gray or silver, it could be a silver strike, and that is a big deal. You will also want to look closely at the date, the lettering, and the mint mark. Check for signs of doubling or misalignment. Any kind of visual error could make your coin much more valuable. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and misaligned dies are all errors that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. And of course, condition is everything. A rare coin in poor condition might be interesting, but a rare coin in mint state can be worth a fortune. Coins that are graded as MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC command premium prices because of their exceptional strike sharpness and luster. If you think you may have found something special, do not clean the coin and do not try to restore it. Cleaning can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading service to be professionally authenticated. To sum it up, the 1979 D Washington quarter is a common coin with an uncommon story. While most are worth just 25 cents, a small number of rare errors and varieties have been known to sell for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even up to $1.5 million. There could be one sitting in your pocket right now, and you would never know it unless you take a closer look. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about rare coins and valuable finds, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share it with your friends. You never know who might have $1 million coin hiding in plain sight. Until next time, keep checking your change and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a version with visual cues or background music suggestions for editing your video. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the hidden treasures of everyday coins. Today, we are diving into the incredible story behind the 1988 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like any ordinary piece of pocket change. But what if I told you that one specific version of this coin is valued at up to $1.2 million? That's right. A 25-cent coin, the kind you might find under your couch cushion or at the bottom of a piggy bank, could actually be worth more than most luxury cars. Let's break down the history, the minting details, and exactly what makes this particular quarter so rare and valuable. To understand the 1988 quarter, we need to go back a bit in time. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. It was never meant to be a permanent design, but the coin quickly became a favorite and stuck around. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the obverse side features a left-facing portrait of Washington, while the reverse originally displayed a bold eagle with outstretched wings. For decades, that eagle became an iconic symbol of American coinage. By 1988, the Washington quarter had already been circulating for over 50 years, with billions of coins produced at mints across the United States. That year, coins were struck at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, Denver coins are marked with a small d, and San Francisco coins, which are primarily proof coins, bear an S. Now, in general, most 1988 quarters are extremely common. In circulated condition, these coins are worth face value, just 25 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, a typical 1988 quarter might fetch between $1 and $10 depending on its quality. So how is it that one coin from this year managed to reach a value of $1.2 million? The answer lies in a rare and unusual minting error that occurred on a very small number of 1,988 quarters. One of the most sought-after types of collectible coins is what's known as a transitional error. This happens when a coin is struck using a die from a different year or using the wrong planchet or metal composition. And in the case of the 1988 quarter, a rare transitional error created a coin that collectors go absolutely wild for. This particular error involves a 1988 quarter that was accidentally struck using a proved die or a reverse intended for another year or denomination. For example, some 1988 quarters have been found with misaligned dies, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or even incorrect planchets. But the most valuable of all is believed to be a mule error, where 2 mismatched coin designs, such as the obverse of a Washington quarter and the reverse of another coin entirely, were combined on a single coin. These kinds of minting mistakes are so rare that only a few examples might exist, and collectors are willing to pay incredible prices to get their hands on them. The exact coin that sold for $1.2 million is rumored to be a one-of-a-kind example, possibly struck on a different metal planchet or featuring a mismatched die pairing that should not exist. Due to its rarity, historical significance, and the sheer mystery surrounding its creation, it captured the attention of elite collectors and auction houses, leading to its jaw-dropping final price. While most of us will never hold that exact coin in our hands, it does raise a fascinating question. Could there be another one out there? Maybe even sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1988 quarter? Let's go over what to look for. First, inspect the coin's mint mark. Quarters without a mint mark were made in Philadelphia, and those with a D were minted in Denver. San Francisco coins with an S are proof coins and were not intended for circulation, so they are already a bit more special. Next, check for any visible errors. Use a magnifying glass or microscope if you have one. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers, especially in the words "I in God we trust" or the date. This could indicate a double die. Also examine the edges of the coin. Is it perfectly round? Are the reeded edges clean or miscut? An off-center strike or missing edge details could indicate a valuable mint error. Finally, weigh the coin. A standard Washington quarter from 1988 should weigh about 5.67 grams and be composed of a copper nickel clad over a copper core. If your quarter feels heavier, lighter, or has an unusual coloration or tone, it might have been struck on the wrong type of metal, something that could add significant value. If you believe you found something unusual, do not attempt to clean or modify the coin. Instead, have it evaluated by a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can determine its authenticity, grade its condition, and possibly confirm if you're holding a coin worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars. So the next time you're sorting through your spare change, don't ignore that old 1988 quarter. You never know what kind of hidden treasure you might be holding. From common circulation coin to million-dollar marble, the story of the 1988 Washington quarter proves that numismatics is full of surprises. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this video with your fellow collectors. You might just help someone discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Would you like a shorter version for TikTok or a script with more visuals described for YouTube editing? Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures in the world of coins. In this video, we are taking a deep dive into a coin that most people overlook without a second thought, the 1991 Washington quarter dollar. Believe it or not, this everyday coin might be worth far more than its face value, because one rare version of it is rumored to have sold for as much as $1.4 million. That's right, a coin that was meant to be just 25 cents could actually be a life-changing fortune if you know what to look for. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 as a one-year commemorative issue to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, but the design proved to be so popular that it became a permanent part of American coinage. The design, created by John Flanagan, features a left-facing profile of George Washington on the front with the word Liberty above the motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date at the bottom. The reverse shows an eagle with its wings spread perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a symbol of strength and peace. By 1991, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for nearly 60 years. The United States Mint had long since shifted away from silver content, which ended in 1964. From 1965 onward, quarters were produced using a copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel. This composition is what we call a clad coin, and it is still used today. The 1991 quarter was minted in Philadelphia and is marked with a small P on the obverse side to the right of Washington's ponytail. Over 570 million of these coins were minted, so most are very common and are only worth face value. But for collectors and serious numismatists, there is always a chance that one rare version slipped through the cracks, and those rare coins can be worth an absolute fortune. So what could possibly make a 1991 quarter worth $1.4 million? The answer lies in rare minting errors and unique anomalies. Coins are struck under extremely high pressure by machines running thousands of times per hour, and sometimes something goes wrong. When it does, the result can be a one-of-a-kind coin that collectors will pay huge money to own. One of the most valuable types of coin errors is known as a transitional error. This happens when a coin is struck using a leftover planchet from a different metal composition or year. While the 1991 quarter should be made of copper and nickel, it is possible that one or more coins were mistakenly struck on a silver planchet or even on a planchet meant for another denomination like a dime or dollar. Such a mistake would make the coin extremely rare. Another possible error is a double denomination strike. This means the coin was struck once as one denomination and then struck again as a quarter. For example, a blank that was already struck as a dime could have been restruck with quarter dies. These kinds of double denomination coins are incredibly rare and have fetched hundreds of thousands and even over $1 million at private auctions. Then, there are double die errors where parts of the design, such as the date, the lettering, or the mint mark, appear doubled due to a mistake in the die production process. These coins are often highly sought after by collectors, especially when the doubling is clear and dramatic. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and misaligned dies can also raise a coin's value significantly, and of course the overall condition of the coin matters the most. A coin that is rare but also in mint state condition with full luster and a strong strike can easily multiply in value. Now let's talk about how you can tell if your 1991 P quarter is one of these rare gems. The first thing to do is examine the edge. A standard clad quarter will have a visible copper stripe along the edge. A silver planchet will not if your coin's edge looks solid and silver colored with no copper stripe. It could be a transitional silver error. Next, weigh the coin. A normal 1991 P quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs noticeably more or less, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. Use a precision digital scale for the most accurate results. You will also want to use a magnifying glass or microscope to examine the lettering, the date, and the mint mark closely. Look for doubling shadows, misaligned details, or any features that just don't look quite right. If you believe you have found something unusual, the best next step is to have the coin professionally graded by a trusted company like PCGS or NGC. These organizations will examine your coin for authenticity, determine if it is a known error, and assign it a grade that reflects its condition and rarity. A professionally graded coin is much easier to sell and can fetch far higher prices at auction. While most 1991 P quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, there are rare exceptions out there, including one that is believed to have been sold for as much as $1.4 million. The exact details of that particular coin remain limited, but experts agree that such a high value could only come from a one-of-a-kind error combined with mint state preservation and historical significance. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you go through your change, every time you open your coin jar or sort your cash register drawer, you might just be holding a fortune without even realizing it. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1991 P quarter is a perfect example of how something ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and the hidden history of American currency, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this with your fellow coin enthusiasts. You never know whose coin collection might hold the next $1 million find. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and happy collecting. Let me know if you want this tailored for a short video format or edited with cues for visuals and background music.